Sinatra, a show for the man, the icon, and the era. Hello everybody, I'm Raider-Wexler, and I'd like to thank you for coming here today at the summit of HBO, Showtime, and AMC. As I invite you to use our show, Sinatra, the series, on one of your networks. When you think about Frank Sinatra, a feeling of nostalgia almost syrups over you. And what does that nostalgia mean? The beauty of that question is that it's different for everybody. For some, it takes us back to a simpler time. For others, it makes us think of those people in our lives that listened to him. Or maybe it just brings up those memories of watching those mafia films that never seem to get old. We begin our series in the year 1943. Sinatra's experiencing his first speaking career. It's a really exciting point to start the series at, but it also gives time for the series to really develop, go through the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs that really characterized Sinatra's career. We meet his wife, Nancy Barbados Sinatra, his high school sweetheart, his 3 kids. Frank Sinatra is this family man, this kid from Hoboken. He's a good guy. But then we meet the other Sinatra, the one who goes out, the social deviant of the New York nightclubs, the one who befriends mafiosos and bad men, and who indulges incessantly with mistress after mistress, or as the Italians say, guma after guma. This man is complex, multifaceted, multidimensional, and he instills a cognitive dissonance in us. So I've given you a little taste of what the plot would seem like, but who's going to buy it? One, researching, we've taken into consideration mainly 2 shows, that's Mad Men and Boardwalk Empire, mainly because they have 2 very important commonalities. 1, they have the morally ambiguous protagonist that Frank Sinatra is, and 2, a huge component of their shows is the historical setting, the really iconic era that they take place in. So based off of tvbynumbers.com, both these shows have similar viewership in terms of age demographic. For Mad Men, that's 25 through 54, and for Boardwalk Empire, that's 35 through 54. So based on commonalities and differences that these shows have with Sinatra, we decided to make our target market 30 through 54. Another important statistic that we found on the database Lexicalist was that Mad Men had 49% of its viewers with over $100,000 in income. Now, why is this important? Well, first, Mad Men is in its last series right now on AMC, so there's going to be that huge viewership that we can really capitalize on, that we can really go for. They're going to be stranded looking for a new series. And second, the 3 networks that are represented here right now already target these high-income earning demographics. So who are we going to be looking at? Men or women to target? It's a trick question. Both will really be able to enjoy, if not all of it, some of the parts. Men could really thrill-seek and indulge in the suspense, the twists and turns, the crime that Sinatra often was involved with, while women can get involved in the era, the styling, the fashion, and can get involved in relationships and romance. But no matter what, if you're a man, you're a woman, you can really get involved in the character that is the charismatic Sinatra. So, while I've talked about what the target market is, why are they going to buy it? When assessing what makes a show or a series successful, it comes down to the viewers. And when we have to tune into the viewers, tap into the viewers, we have to tap into their psychology. Sinatra, the series, innately has 3 very important psychological traits that will make viewership very enjoyable and very positive. And they include transportation, the historical figures, and also the moral ambiguity. Now, all these sources that I'm going to cite are media psychologists who have done research. First, talking about transportation. Logically assessing why transportation is important. It's easy to do. Why do we indulge in shows? We want to be transported. We want to be taken to a different time. There's something in our life that isn't being fulfilled that can't be fulfilled through these shows. As Green and Brooks state, transportation is this distinct mental process and integrative melding of attention, of imagery, and of feelings. And as Bussell goes on to further state, when a character is realistic, transportation is high. When transportation is high, viewership enjoyment is also higher. Sinatra, the era, it's all very real. We all know him. Therefore, transportation will be high, and the enjoyment will be high as well. Next, the historical figures that will be portrayed in this series are very important. Green and Brock who I previously cited, state that when characters are multidimensional, realistic, and familiar, viewers are allowed to really immerse themselves in the character, identify with the character, and be aroused by the character. Now let's think about the people that were in Frank Sinatra's life, whether it be starlets like Marilyn Monroe, political figures like JFK, or the dynamic personalities of the Rat Pack. These are the most multidimensional, iconic figures of this era, but they're also mysterious. Next, let's think about some of the popular shows that are on today, like Breaking Bad, Mad Men, Boardwalk Empire. What do they all have in common? That morally ambiguous character, that morally ambiguous protagonist. Frank Sinatra defines moral ambiguity. As Ely and Strine will say, morally ambiguous characters are assessed by viewers as more realistic than their purely good or purely bad counterpart. Now, why is this important? What Shapiro and Chapko want to say is that viewers are constantly judging and analyzing if what they're watching is realistic, and that's how they define whether or not they like a series and keep watching it. Furthermore, Kojin and Horn say that morally ambiguous characters elicit these very positive responses. They elicit effective responses, empathy, and identification. There are no successful series that exist right now without these things. And Sinatra, he has them. He instills this cognitive dissonance in us. We have a relationship with him. Do we love him? Do we hate him? Are we mad with him? Do we love what he's doing? In essence, viewers love a character that strays the line between good and bad. So before I open up the floor to questions, I'd like you to take a look at this man. Yes, it's Sinatra. Yes, we know his music and who he is, but there's something deeper behind there. There's pain, there's suffering, there's psychological turmoil, there's crime, passion, love, family. All these things together. We know Sinatra, but do we really know Sinatra? You guys have the power to expose the truth of who he is, and together we owe it to him. And with that, I now open the floor to questions.
Have you thought about who's going to write the script for this play? Like if you have anyone already in mind or if you've already written it?
We've just developed the storyline. We have a pretty extensive idea of like what characters are going to be in everything, but typically the networks also have a really big say in who writes because different networks, for example, you can't say the F word on AMC, and you can't on HBO and Showtime. So who the writers are really depend also on the network heads and network producers. Mm-hmm.
Going off of that, have you thought about who you want to play Frank Sinatra?
You know, Frank Sinatra has not been touched yet, and if you think about a lot of the iconic figures, you know, Ray Charles, people like that who have already been portrayed, I think one of the things that people are scared of is he was so iconic that how do we get someone who can master and encompass everything that he was? So I think that's going to be one of the most all-encompassing efforts that we're going to have to do, but I think together there is that person out there who can achieve that and who can be Sinatra and take us on that journey with him. Thank you guys.